Donald Trump's boys and girls at the Federal Reserve keep the interest rate stable. What's going on, folks? So what happens to real estate? Real estate goes up. Okay, real estate goes down. Let's get into all that. All right, folks. So the Federal Reserve keeps the interest rate stable. Okay, so what? Interest rate goes up, people don't buy homes. Interest rate goes down, people buy homes. Well, let me tell you all something, folks. All right, maybe the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, understands that people are just not buying homes. Okay, what does that mean? Well, it depends what you're talking about. Gen Z is not interested in buying a home. Folks, if you're Gen Z, all right, the prices of houses are so expensive. Okay, yes, that's one factor. It's really expensive. Two, there is no point for you to buy the house. Okay, so what does that mean? All right, let me give you an example. You have Sean. He graduates from Columbia University. Great. He's making decent money, or he's making great money. He's 23, 24 years old. Now, let's just say Sean decides to never get married. He has no plan to have a family. Why would somebody buy a house, folks? All right. So this whole concept of home ownership. Now let's go back and look at the American dream, right? What was the American dream, right? The American dream was what? Go to college, get married, buy a house. Yes, buy a house. Okay. Have a family, kids, whatever you want to have, 2 kids, 3 kids, 5 kids. Okay. So that doesn't exist anymore. And we discussed this in a lot of my videos. The birth rate in America is declining, folks. It's just going down. So people are not having kids. So why would somebody waste their time and energy in buying a house when they decide never to get married or never to have a family? Well, okay, thinking this way. You buy a house, mortgage payments, interest, maintenance. Okay, what does that mean? Folks, home ownership means headaches, problems, right? You gotta fix the house. Okay, even if it's a new house, well, most people will buy, a house which is a few years old, or 20, 30, 40, 50 years old, okay? So now what? Okay, well, now what? What does that mean? It means is, what's the point of doing that? You need to get a plumber, you need to get an electrician, you gotta pay property taxes. Oh, wow, what does that mean? Well, you own property in most of the states, like New Jersey, New York, taxes are ridiculously high. You're paying $18,000 to $20,000 in property taxes. Okay, for what? Okay, a lot of those taxes are going to schools. Okay, so wait a second. If you never got married, you never had kids, why would you pay property taxes to send somebody else to send their kids to go to school and you have to pay for it? Makes no sense. Okay, is that an investment? Maybe yes, maybe no. Some people will buy it for investment. Is it even feasible in the end? I do not know the answer to that. I'll let you figure it out. So folks, this whole concept of interest rate, which is great. I know Donald Trump has been talking a lot about that. And of course, there's a new Fed chairman of lowering the interest rates. Okay, great. Okay, fine. Some people spend more money or they borrow, whichever way you want to see it. But the idea of home ownership is declining, folks. There is no reason for people for Gen Z I'm talking about, or like I said, a person who never wants to get married, never want to have kids, right? There is no reason for them to buy a house. Why would you buy a house and deal with the headache of home ownership? Okay, and guess what? You're renting somewhere and you get a better job offer, right? And let's say you live in New York City and you got a great job offer, let's just say, example, in Scranton, Pennsylvania, which is beautiful. It's cheaper to live there. You pack up all your stuff and then you move there, right? You move to Scranton, Pennsylvania, which is beautiful, it's cheaper, beautiful lifestyle, low taxes. Okay, so what's the whole point of owning a house? There is no purpose of people to own homes anymore, right, folks? Particularly for Gen Z. Like I said again, men are not interested in getting married, okay? Maybe yes, women are interested, but again, they're not interested to have kids, right? So now what? You're freezing your eggs for what? You're keeping your eggs, you're freezing your eggs, you're not getting married. So the point of interest rates is barely makes a difference these days, folks, when it comes to the prices of homes. Yes, the economists will argue and say, yes, it's great. But yes, if you're talking about people who are really investing into real estate, but for an average American, I'm talking about Gen Z or somebody who's under 30, who looks at the prices of the homes and they're like, wow, homes are so expensive. Okay, gotta worry about property taxes. Wow, okay. So I'm gonna pay for property taxes and most of the bill is gone and all these other programs like supporting the school system, not even worth it, right? Okay, it sounds great, don't get me wrong, folks. For somebody who has kids or planning to get married, have kids, interest rates will make a big difference. And I hope, and I'm sure the President of the United States of America, Donald Trump, understands that. Probably the Federal Reserve also understands that, right? But again, for Gen Z, for most Americans now under 30, who cares? Interest rates go up, rates go down. When it comes to real estate, nobody's interested. Hey, folks, guess what? My friends are more interested in having a better car. Okay, what does that mean? I'm seriously, folks. It's more fun to have a cool car. I think in this, why not? You got a new Challenger, Corvette, Tesla, whatever. Have fun. 2, why are you tying up your money? Maybe for some people, it's better to just take some nice vacations, okay? Or maybe invest in stocks, bonds, whatever, cryptos and other currencies, which are probably less headache to deal with, right? I'm not saying it's a good investment or a bad investment, but home ownership means a lot of problems, right, folks? Maintenance, fixing, plumbing, cut the grass, okay? Yeah, well, it depends where you live. And certain parts of America, like in Florida, Texas, people live in you got to pay the housing fee, right? Housing association fee. Those are fees which you have to pay for them to maintain the lot and etc. Yes, you're getting some, benefits with that because they're cutting the grass for you. All that stuff for what? Defeats the whole purpose, right? Okay, so you're single or you just have a girlfriend, boyfriend, or you're just living this cool life, right? Might as well forget this whole idea of buying a house, because why on the planet are you doing that for what? To deal with more headaches and more problems. And 2, you're stuck with the house. Yes, you can sell it. Good luck selling it. Sometimes it's hard to sell it. You got to get an agent. You got to put it on for sale. Going through all that, when, like I said, you get another job in another part of the country. You live in Chicago, then you get a job in Los Angeles. Guess what? You go there. 2, most people under 30 are having fun, having great vacations, okay? Why not? Go to vacation, make those cool YouTube videos, have fun, okay? Have a great time. Maybe go to nice restaurants to eat, enjoy. Why deal with the headache of owning a house and dealing with this nonsense of fixing the house, property taxes, maintenance, sometimes court enforcement. You forget to cut the grass and they give you a fine or a penalty. Why go through this whole process, right? Okay, so yes, the Federal Reserve putting the interest rate stable sounds okay or great. For real estate, maybe not so great, because some people would turn around and say, well, they should lower the interest rate. That would attract people. The answer is no. Regardless how you will see it, I don't think the Federal Reserve, or many people do not seem to understand. The answer is, folks, Gen Z or even the people under the age of 30 are not interested. Majority of them are not interested to get married. A lot of them are not interested to have kids, and there is no reason for them to buy a house and go with that nonsense. By the way, all these guys, they love being on these apps, right? They're on these apps having fun, meeting girls. Girls are doing the same thing like we discussed, right? Instagram, Hinge, Bumble, whatever these apps are. So having fun, who cares? Deal with the headache of owning a home and dealing with the headaches and all the problems which come home. Yes, of course, it feels great when you own a house. It's your house, you feel great. You're a homeowner, you don't have to worry about rent. But on the long run, for some people, particularly I think a lot of folks under the age of 30, it's not even feasible. Folks, if you think the interest rates which were kept stable by Federal Reserve, and of course, Donald Trump was big on this topic of Federal Reserve, putting a new chairman for the Federal Reserve. Let me know and put thumbs up. If you disagree with me about interest rate and Federal Reserve, put your comments at the bottom and make your own video. We want to listen for you. And folks, I need your help. I need to keep this channel surviving. I need you to press the subscribe button. Thank you.